For joining us this hour. It is almost impossible to believe that Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings has died. He was just a giant in the Congress, a giant in this era of American politics. At a personal level, I can tell you that he was one of the few, genuinely and humblingly inspiring people that I have ever personally interacted with from the world of politics. I say humblingly, it's sort of inarticulately there. What I mean by that is that it was humbling to meet him, to engage in conversation with him about his work and about politics and about the country, because he was just a consistently, deeply impressive, thoughtful public official and leader. He had such gravitas, such a clear ethical core. He made you feel humble. He made you want to be better at your own work. He made you want to be a better person when you interacted with him. So I will associate myself with the kind words that a lot of my colleagues and his colleagues have been making about him today. I will also just mention, as a sort of grace note in the news today, as we learn about Congressman Cummings' passing and his last hours, one of the things we have learned tonight is that one of the final things he did before he died, what may have in fact been his last official act before he died, is that he signed a series of subpoenas from his hospice bed. These were subpoenas to immigration agencies in the Trump administration, the agencies that have been running this effort to target kids receiving life-saving medical care in this country, to target those kids for deportation to countries where those kids couldn't get the care that is keeping them alive. These targeted deportations at kids with life-threatening medical issues that would effectively be a death sentence for those kids. Right? This story about kids with cystic fibrosis, kids with rare genetic diseases who have been getting medical care in this country that's been keeping them alive. These kids being singled out and targeted by the Trump administration for deportation is one of the stories that we have covered here on this show fairly intensively. Chairman Elijah Cummings picked up this issue in Congress and ran with it. He held hearings on it. He demanded the reversal of this policy. Well, in recent weeks, as we've learned that the Trump administration did announce sort of in name that they would be rescinding this policy, but we learned that they might still be trying to get away with it in practice. As that has come to light just over the last few weeks, it was Chairman Elijah Cummings of the Oversight Committee who demanded that Trump administration officials answer to him and answer to the Oversight Committee on this issue. And yesterday, he, from his hospice bed, signed subpoenas to Trump administration officials to answer questions on this policy. Those subpoenas were signed by him in the hospice yesterday morning. The subpoenas were delivered and served to those officials yesterday afternoon. And then, of course, Congressman Cummings died this morning. And when these immigration officials in the Trump administration presumably choose to defy those subpoenas, which, of course, we expect they will, we should remember that those subpoenas were the final act of Chairman Cummings as the head of the Oversight Committee. Keep in mind his tenacity in trying to see this through, trying to get that oversight, trying to get those answers literally through his dying days. You just watch. Those Trump administration officials are going to defy those subpoenas anyway. I'll bet you dollars to donuts. But remember where they came from. Chairman Cummings, only 68 years old when he died today. His Oversight Committee has not yet chosen a successor for him as chairman. The committee will have to vote on that matter in the weeks ahead. I will say, in terms of that committee's crucial role in this ongoing impeachment inquiry against the president, it's almost bizarre to imagine that committee right now doing that work without this, booming-voiced ethical touchstone of Elijah Cummings at its helm. But as a lot of people have noted today, one of the things that Congressman Cummings has been known for, both as his time as a backbencher in Congress and as his time in leadership and as a committee chairman, is that he has always had among the most impressive staff of anybody in Congress. That committee that he leads, that Oversight Committee, is very able. More than almost any other committee I've ever seen in action. They do really have incredibly competent staff who did incredibly diligent, thorough, and unassailable work under his leadership. Nothing, obviously, will be the same without Chairman Cummings at the helm, but obviously the work of that committee will continue. It's just very sad news to wake up.